Psalm 119:67-68, Before I was afflicted I went astray. By God's application for an affliction, the psalmist records in verses 67-68, Before I was afflicted, I went astray, but now I keep your word. 68 You are good and do good, teach me your statutes. Today, we read the word afflicted as aggrieved or stricken, but I think the rendition in several other Bible manuscripts lends a better light. Both the Septuagint and the Latin Vulgate translate the word afflicted as humbled, and in that context, I think it makes more sense. Before I was afflicted, I was humbled. In general, the word can mean any type of trial, but what the psalmist is really saying is that before the Lord humbled him, he was prone to choosing wrong and going astray. The word translated as astray can mean several things. It could mean to wander, or that he forgot his commitment to God, or that he lived in the collective of his God-given conscience. However, the effect of the humbling has caused the psalmist to return to his dedication to the Lord. On this side of the cross, especially in our own day where we can be filled with the indwelling presence of Christ's Spirit, the humbling brought on by God's outcomes-based education will most often return the Spirit-filled Christian to the way of godliness. We read in Hebrews 12:11, that all discipline for the moment seems not to be joyful, but sorrowful, yet to those who have been trained by it, afterward it yields the peaceful fruit of righteousness. According to Hebrews 5:14, it is our bodily senses that must be trained to overcome the temptations of the flesh. Satan knows our weaknesses and it is the easy path of distraction from obedience. As proof, ask yourself about the temptation of the first sin in the Garden of Eden. Eve saw that the tree was good for food and delightful to look at and that it was desirable for obtaining wisdom. So, she took some of its fruit and ate of it, or just think about how hungry Jesus was when he was tempted by Satan in the desert, saying, "Turn these stones into bread." However, for the child of God, in every case the affliction will be a benefit, either in the here and now or when we are called home to receive rewards at the bema. Ultimately, some dangerous errors, transgression, or fleshly habits will be changed. According to James in chapter 1, the afflictions are among the most precious displays of God's grace. He writes in verses 2-4, that we should consider it all joy, my brethren, when we encounter various trials, knowing that the testing of our faith produces endurance. And we should let endurance have its perfect result, so that we may be perfect and complete, lacking in nothing. Whenever a trial comes our way, we can count it as joy because the Father is disciplining us, and the trial is entirely under the direction of God. Hebrews 12:5-6, And you have forgotten the exhortation which is addressed to you as sons, my son, do not regard lightly the discipline of the Lord, nor faint when you are reproved by him. 6 For those whom the Lord loves he disciplines, and he scourges every son whom he receives. Therefore, the psalmist pens the words again, teach me your statutes. The New Testament teaches that the law in the Old Testament was given as our tutor to teach us God's precepts and principles for godly living. It is up to us to submit to them in applications to our own lives. Jesus said in John 14:15, If you love me, you will obey me.